Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, please welcome Buffalo Bills announcer John Murphy. We gotta move.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon, and welcome to the AdPro Sports Fieldhouse, the Buffalo Bills Fieldhouse. And welcome to the 2022 State of the County Address presented by Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz. I am John Murphy, play-by-play voice of the Bills. Happy to welcome you here to this event today. Before we get going, I have just two small requests, if you would. First of all, will you please silence your cell phones? I just did mine, thinking it'd be awful if I asked you to silence and mine went off in the middle of this. Second thing, if you're interested, there are restrooms in the back of the room. There are a men's room and a women's room right back there, easily marked. So it's right back there. All right, to get things started, I'd like to introduce the man who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you please welcome the President and CEO of the Buffalo and Erie County Naval and Military Park, Paul Marzello. And please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. And now for our invocation, would you please welcome to the podium Father Marian Prosik of St. Nicholas Ukrainian Catholic Church. Father Prosik.
Dear friends, I am honored to be here with you today, and the Ukrainian community is truly grateful for the tremendous outpouring of support we have received throughout our area. Western New York is a community that truly knows how to serve one another and come together for the benefit of those in need. Just this past weekend, I attended one of several fundraisers for Ukraine in the Holy Trinity Ukrainian Orthodox Church Hall here in Cheektowaga. It was an amazing sight to witness the multitude of people of all ages who attended this event and came out to show their support. There are many people among you from different walks of life who pray for Ukraine, who are offering their unwavering support and generosity to help the people of Ukraine in this unholy and unjust war, in which many civilians have already died, including more than 165 innocent children, despite the Russian propaganda denying that they are not targeting civilians. The Ukrainians in the town of Bucha, Borodyanka, the city of Mariupol, and many others have experienced the worst of these travesties, and we cannot ignore the brutality of the many innocent civilian deaths that have occurred in these regions and continue to occur throughout Ukraine. Many friends throughout our community are reaching out to Dnipro, the Ukrainian Cultural Center on Genesee Street, offering their donations and support. Some are even coming to visit our Ukrainian churches and giving money without wanting recognition, just saying, make sure that this money goes to Ukraine. Our sincerest gratitude goes out to all of them, as well as everyone gathered here today who has supported Ukraine in one way or another. Ukraine is fighting for its dignity, for its freedom, for its territorial integrity. These freedom fighters need a way to defend their country. They need humanitarian aid and weapons. They need political pressure on the Russian government. Recently, when Russian troops were retreating from war-torn areas, the world witnessed the horrific destruction of civilian life that was left behind in the aftermath. These vivid and disturbing images led President Biden to declare that the Russian president should be charged as a war criminal, and he promised more defensive weapons and more humanitarian aid. Along with the Ukrainian military chaplain, Father Andriy Zelensky, I say, I have a dream that one day a Ukrainian child, a boy or a girl, will be proud and not afraid of being a Ukrainian child, of living in a country with equal possibilities and respectful obligations, with secured future and protected rights, among which are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. I have a dream that freedom and dignity for the whole world and not only for one country will become more than just a couple of nice words, but the fundamental principles of our new reality emerged from the ashes of a previous centuries, that everyone will have a right for them, that all will have an obligation to respect them. I entreat you, Ukraine must win this war, because this war against freedom and democracy will not end with Ukraine. Our world leaders must act now, because every moment of hesitation on the side of Western policymakers and NATO decision makers about whether to provide Ukraine with anti-aircraft weapons cost lives, most likely civilian lives. Innocent women, children, and elderly people are dying every day. The brave Ukrainian troops who are fighting on the front lines need a no-flying zone over Ukraine, or more children's hospitals and communities will be destroyed by Russian air raids and missiles. I beseech you, pray for Ukraine. And may the good Lord continue to bless our county, our state, and our country. May the Mother of God protect Ukraine. May the Lord bless and safeguard Ukraine. May peace reign in our hearts. May the children, women, and elders of Ukraine be safe once more. May the soldiers of Ukraine obtain their victory not only for Ukraine, but for the rest of the Western world. May the gracious Lord bless all of us gathered here today and inspire us to always look for a way to help bring peace and harmony into our world. Amen.
Thank you, Father. Again, welcome to the State of the County Address. This is a special day, the first State of the County Address made in person before a live audience in 3 years. We have COVID to thank for that, and it's good to see everybody out. Some of you with masks, that's okay, but it's good to see everybody out and about and shaking hands. It is, of course, a special location for the State of the County Address, the Buffalo Bills Fieldhouse, the AdPro Sports Fieldhouse here in Orchard Park. Special resonance to being here today, especially with word last week that there is a deal in place that will keep the Bills in Western New York for at least 30 more years. How about a round of applause for that? That, of course, is a deal that our county executive played a major role in crafting. I'll tell you a quick story. 8 years ago, 2014, I was covering the NFL owners meetings in Orlando, Florida. And while we were there, our small crew were there, Mr. Wilson passed away. Ralph Wilson passed away. I was covering the meetings in Orlando, Florida. Mr. Wilson's death sent shockwaves throughout the entire meetings. That was obviously before the Pagulas, before Josh Allen, before Stephon Diggs and so many others, before Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott. The Bills in the depths of their 17-year playoff drought. There was real concern just 8 years ago, and I felt it at that meeting, real concern, there was genuine worry that Buffalo's spot in the NFL might be in jeopardy. The NFL is getting too big. It's even bigger now. It was getting too expensive for Buffalo. There was real concern among the owners who's going to take over that team. Well, they found suitable and really excellent owners, and of course now the state and the county and the Bills have reached agreement on a new home for the Bills that's going to last for about 30 years. 8 years later, the Bills are set in place here in Western New York for the foreseeable future, and that is an amazing occurrence that has happened in a very short time. With still work to be done, right? In Albany, obviously, and here in Western New York. And that's why this is the perfect spot for today's State of the County Address. This place, this field house, you guys are in the red zone. going into the end zone that way, but this is where the work gets done. This is where the Bills go to work almost every day in this field house. You know, we're a couple of weeks away. They shift into off-season conditioning work, I think a couple of days after Easter. That transitions into off-season workouts, into mini camp, training camp, and then, of course, regular season practices 5 or 6 days a week right here in this building, right here on the field on which you are seated at tables right now. The Bills work here, and they work hard here almost every day. And today, we're going to hear about the work that the county executive has planned. We're going to hear his outline for his work plan for 2022, not just for the Bills deal, but for the entire county. That's why I think this place makes a perfect place for the county executive to talk about the work that lies ahead this year. At this time, I'd like to please bring to the podium the man who will introduce the county executive today. He is Corporate Vice President for Governmental Relations and Special Projects at Rich Products Corporation. He's a good friend of mine. Would you please welcome Jonathan Dandes?
Thank you, Murph. Welcome, everyone. Excuse me. I know I speak for everyone in this room, Father, by saying that all of Western New York stands with the people of Ukraine, and we are hoping and praying for the very best. Let me also take just a moment to recognize what I think, or who I think, may be the finest sports announcer in the entire United States, and sometimes he doesn't get enough credit for bringing every game for over so many years to the homes and cars and places of business of how the Bills play. So a big hand for John Murphy. Ladies and gentlemen, as John has indicated, it is fittingly appropriate and spectacularly ironic that we come together here in this space at this time, at this moment, to hear about the state of Erie County from our county executive, Mark Poloncarz. President John Fitzgerald Kennedy said some years ago, "We have the power to make this the best generation in the history of the world, or to make it our last." Clearly, Mark Poloncarz has provided that leadership to help make this our best. This county executive has worked tirelessly over his time in office, and most importantly, over the past few years, to create, to grow, to maintain a community that is safe, healthy, economically robust, and culturally diverse. The fiscal integrity and professionalism which he has brought to the Rath Building speaks for itself, and as Erie County residents, we have benefited from that approach. Despite the extraordinary challenges of COVID, he led us through the most serious pandemic in our history and provided clear, effective, transparency, and creative solutions to help guide us through those dark moments. He communicated constantly and was firmly committed to doing the right thing for Erie County, for all of Western New York, by staying ahead of the curve and by being proactive. As a member of the county's COVID task group, I can tell you firsthand that he never lost sight of that goal, and that was to keep as many of us, our family, our friends and colleagues, as safe as we could possibly be, despite the ravages of that virus. His record, support for our cultural organizations, and his efforts on behalf of economic development, his commitment to fiscal competency and integrity continue to define his leadership. When that leadership was required to help ECMC grow and continue to build on its development as a center of clinical excellence, community care, he never wavered despite the political winds. His support for the hospital was and continues to be absolutely critical to its ongoing journey as a center for excellence, saving people's lives every day. And in collaboration with his partners, Mark Poloncarz, along with our great governor, Kathy Hochul, and the Pegula family, well, as Marv said so many years ago, where would you rather be than right here, right now? Douglas MacArthur said many years ago that, quote, "A true leader has the confidence to stand alone, the courage to make tough decisions, and the compassion to listen to the needs of others. He does not necessarily set out to be a leader, but becomes one by the quality of his actions and the integrity to make them his own." I would offer that our county executive, Mark Poloncarz, is that type of leader. So please, join me not only in welcoming him here to the podium for this State of the County address, but also to recognize and thank him for all that he has done on behalf of Erie County, of Western New York, and for all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased and honored to introduce my friend, our County Executive, Mark Poloncarz.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much all for being here today. Good afternoon, and thank you to John Dandies for that gracious introduction. Now, John is the ultimate civic leader, and I frequently seek his counsel when making important decisions for our community. And we are indebted to him for his leadership and contributions, including volunteering as our COVID-19 vaccine czar. John is also the past chair of the ECMC Board of Directors, where we work together to save county tax dollars while also renovating the hospital's emergency department. So thank you, John, for your introduction and once again for your leadership in this community. I appreciate it. I would also like to thank Paul Marzello of the Buffalo and Erie County Naval and Military Park for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance, as well as Father Marian Prosek for leading us in today's invocation and those important words about what we are all unfortunately witnessing in Ukraine. I can say from the bottom of my heart, and I know all hearts of Western New Yorkers, we stand with the people of Ukraine at this terrible time. Thank you for being here today. Thank you to Karen Gambino from Deaf Access Services for being here, and her and Kendra Schmidt were there all along as we did the COVID press conferences this year. So thank you, Karen, for providing the American Sign Language. Thank you to the members of the Erie County Legislature for being here, my partners in government, as well as District Attorney John Flint, Clerk Mickey Kearns, as well as all the other community leaders here, including Mayor Byron Brown. Together, we have weathered the storm, and I thank you for your service to this community. Thanks to John Murphy for being our host here today at the AdPro Buffalo Bills Fieldhouse. Although this facility belongs to the people of Erie County, it's truthfully rare for us to open it up to community events. And as John Dandies already stole my thunder, as Coach Levy used to say, where else would you rather be than right here, right now? Finally, thank you to everyone here in attendance today, and welcome everyone at home who are watching on television or streaming online. The last time I gave my State of the County address in person was more than 3 years ago. We were finalizing my 2020 address when COVID-19 hit, and of course we canceled the event altogether. Although I was able to deliver a pre-recorded message last year, it was not the same as being together. I am so happy that we are all here today. During the past 2 years, we collectively went through a traumatic experience. After many dark days, the light has returned. We have gone from the fear of dealing with a deadly virus to having a strong supply of safe, effective vaccines and experiencing a return to normalcy. Through it all, Erie County has been there, leading the way. Let's hear from Deputy County Executive Maria White to learn more about what Erie County did.
I'm here at the Erie County Department of Health warehouse that served as the central hub for Erie County's COVID-19 response. From day one, Erie County worked to stop the spread of the virus in our community. For example, Erie County hosted more than 700 COVID-19 testing sites. We operated over 660 vaccine clinics, administering more than 235,000 doses. We got creative with our vaccine clinics, administering doses at local breweries and restaurants, nail salons, and cultural organizations. We even held prom-themed clinics for our teens. Erie County also served as the primary clearinghouse for COVID-19 information. Our call center fielded over 270,000 phone calls, each call representing a person with a question, a concern, or a need that needed to be addressed. And finally, Erie County distributed hundreds of thousands of at-home COVID-19 tests to our community and more than 7 million masks to countless organizations. Although the worst of the pandemic is behind us, Erie County continues to protect our community, and county government is ready to face future public health emergencies.
Thank you to Deputy Executive White, and I want to publicly express my gratitude to every Erie County employee who's been on the front lines of this battle. Dr. Burstein and I were the faces you saw on TV every day, but there were thousands of county employees and other community heroes working together to protect the public. If you worked on the front lines to help stop COVID, whether it was at a clinic, hospital, correctional facility, or as a clerk at a supermarket, or behind the scenes to protect so many, like so many people in Erie County government, including our great team from the Epidemiological Division of the Department of Health, please stand so we can all give you a very well-deserved round of applause. Of course, we know the pandemic was not just a health crisis. It affected nearly every part of society. So we created 3 task forces to handle the most urgent needs that arose during the pandemic: childcare, housing, and business assistance. Our emergency childcare task force focused on making sure parents who were essential workers had access to childcare so that they could go to work. This task force was the driving force behind the virtual learning support centers, which provided working parents with a safe, staffed venue for when schools conducted their classes virtually. This initiative was so innovative, it was recognized by the National Association of Counties with a 2021 National Achievement Award in the Children and Youth category. That deserves a round of applause. We assembled an affordable housing task force to help families stay in their homes due to the economic hardship caused by the pandemic. The task force established an emergency rental and mortgage assistance fund, covering up to 5 months of payments for qualifying families. This initiative allowed 2,190 families to stay in their homes while providing relief to the applicants' landlords, many of whom rely on rental income to repay their mortgage. Our business task force was set up to help facilitate the needs of the local business community. Initially, the task force focused on explaining ever-changing state lockdown regulations and helping businesses obtain personal protective equipment. In conjunction with 43 North, the group developed a back-to-business grant program to make up for the gaps in the federal Paycheck Protection Program. In total, 1,399 small businesses were provided $19.2 million in direct financial assistance. Additionally, the Business Task Force established the Shop 716 e-gift card program that poured $1.2 million back into our economy and supported small businesses when they needed it most. The response to the health crisis and the work of our 3 emergency task forces show what our county government can do when needed. We tackle challenges, we innovate solutions, we provide leadership. Although our COVID response is much to be proud of, we must not forget that this virus has cost our community 2,742 lives. Each of those lives represents an empty chair at the dinner table where a loved one once sat. A parent, a child, a spouse, grandparent, brother or sister. We must never reduce the pandemic's toll to solely a number, but remember that each person lost was a cherished member of a family and our community. We want to get back to normal, but we must acknowledge that what we knew before is not really coming back. Not with so many of our friends, families, and neighbors gone. Not with more than 1 million of our fellow Americans lost. Not with our children experiencing 2 years of grief, anxiety, and depression. Not with the political divisions in our community deepened even further. What the future is will depend on the decisions we make here and now. Although we are entering the endemic stage of the crisis, we are still faced with many challenges. We can choose to ignore these challenges and allow trauma, economic hardship, and political division to spread in our community as devastatingly as any virus, or we can take collective action to address these new challenges and build a community defined by resilience, prosperity, and solidarity. It will take just as much time to address the post-pandemic challenges as it did the initial crisis. Nevertheless, I am confident we can overcome these challenges and build a better future for all. First, we must do right by our children. Although they generally were not at risk for the most severe health consequences, we asked the youngest members of the community to sacrifice much so that their teachers and relatives could be safe. Children went without school, and when they initially returned, they learned from home remotely. Although Erie County tried to fill the gap by developing virtual learning support centers, it was not a substitute for having children in a classroom with their teacher. Eventually, children were able to return to school, but only in a highly controlled environment. But it wasn't just in-person education they sacrificed. They also gave up t-ball games, piano recitals, middle school dances, and graduation ceremonies. And it was only just a few short weeks ago they were allowed to take off their masks in schools for the first time since the pandemic began. Now, there was good reason to shut down schools early on. On multiple days in April 2020, more than 1,000 New York residents died each day from COVID, and more than 60,000 have perished since the pandemic began. While it is true that children are less susceptible than adults to the worst outcomes of the COVID-19 virus, it is also true that schools are a particularly ripe environment for the transmission of diseases. If left unmitigated, our schools would have been a massive source of virus transmission. We asked much from them. Now we have to repay this debt. Today, I am announcing my Back on Track agenda to help our children recover from the pandemic. This agenda will begin to address the gaps caused by the loss of in-person schooling and reduce the likelihood of future schooling disruptions. The first thing we will do to get our students back on track is continue to task our dedicated school COVID resource team and the health department with assisting all county school districts, charter and private schools address the health issues of the school-aged children in their schools. We created the school resource team during the height of the pandemic to assist educators with state mandates and health concerns. And now we will continue this team to assist all local districts and all local schools with health concerns. The second part of the Back on Track agenda will make it easier for parents to address youth mental health issues. We will develop an app that allows parents to identify the mental health services available in our community. Erie County is blessed to have many mental health resources for children. However, parents don't often know where to find the help their children need. We will develop an app that allows parents to confidentially input their child's issues and needs into a phone and provide the information on the agencies who provide the services required that are near. This will help parents get their children back on track. The third part of our Back on Track agenda is changing a long-standing policy of our library system. Starting May 1st, the Buffalo and Erie County Public Library System will no longer fine children, or for that matter, anyone, for returning a book late. Numerous studies have shown that late fees are ineffective at getting books returned on time, but they successfully stop low-income families from patronizing their library. The small amount libraries collect in late fees is not worth the cost to families. Thank you to the Buffalo and Erie County Public Library System for working with my administration on this new initiative. And welcome to our area, one of the first days he's on the job, new director John Spears. The final part of our agenda will have our children breathing easier, literally. The CDC recommends schools use a HEPA filtration system to improve air quality. Students attending schools with this type of system have been found to have fewer illnesses and increased attendance. Unfortunately, many schools cannot install this type of filter into their existing HVAC system or are forced to use less effective filtration systems instead. To make sure every student in Erie County has this level of protection, we are purchasing a mobile air filtration system for every classroom in Erie County. That is one mobile filter system for every public, private, charter classroom across the county. The best part of the mobile air filtration systems, they are made in Buffalo at Austin Air, just minutes from downtown. Here is Lauren McMillan from Austin Air to tell us more.
We are proud to partner with Erie County to provide every classroom with an Austin Air HealthMate. We are the only clinically proven manufacturer of medical-grade HEPA air purifiers. Our purifiers remove up to 99% of all airborne contaminants, including viruses, bacteria, and allergens. We assemble these units in our 480,000 square foot factory on Elk Street in Buffalo, where the majority of our employees are Erie County residents, many of whom are parents. This partnership will protect the children of our employees, which makes this initiative very special to everyone here. We will begin delivering these units to schools in the next few weeks and will be available to protect our children if we get another spike of COVID. Thank you to Erie County for partnering with a local company on this initiative and allowing us to make a difference in the lives of Erie County children.
Thank you, Lauren, and to all at Austin Air for working with us to protect our children as well as joining us here today. It is critical we help our children recover from the pandemic, and my Back on Track agenda will help us get there. But it's not just children who need help. We also need to support parents. The lack of affordable, high-quality childcare has caused millions of women nationwide to drop out of the workforce and prevented employers from hiring many working parents. The Buffalo-Niagara Partnership has even identified affordable childcare as one of their top policy agenda items in 2022. To help us examine why the market failed to provide the needed amount of childcare in our region, Erie County commissioned a study from Cornell University. The study confirmed that childcare does not provide adequate levels of pay for those who work in the field. Additionally, it found gross disparities exist between the needs for equitably accessible childcare and current funding models. Erie County's child care subsidy offered to low-income families provides child care providers with a rate calculated by New York State. This rate is disturbingly low, considering the cost of care, and results in poverty wages for child care employees. Individuals who want to care for children simply cannot afford to and move to other jobs that pay more. Think about it. The individuals tasked with caring for our region's children during their most formative years are paid some of the lowest wages of any worker. That is why my administration has asked New York State to significantly increase the child care allocation to Erie County by $20 million. Although more funding is needed to increase the number of families who can access this program, we must first increase the subsidy we provide child care providers. Increasing our subsidy would increase the pay for child care workers to a livable wage and help providers retain their employers. Ultimately, these funds will ensure parents, especially working women, have access to affordable child care and enable them to return to the workforce. Thank you to Deputy County Executive Maria White, as well as our Department of Social Service Commissioner Marie Cannon for working so vigorously on this issue. We also need to make sure that Erie County residents are trained for the jobs that are currently available. Using $1.6 million of federal American Rescue Plan assistance, the county created the Erie County Healthcare Careers Program to train low-income individuals for some of the most in-demand, good-paying healthcare jobs, such as RNs, LPNs, or surgical techs. Administered by the Workforce Administration Board, slots in this program are in such demand that we invested another $1.3 million of county share dollars so more people could be trained. These jobs are available now, will get even more plentiful in the future, and with the Healthcare Careers Program, they will be filled by Erie County residents. Now, we can't talk about workforce development without talking about SUNY Erie. The college must transform from an institution designed for the 1970s to one designed for today. The college has experienced a significant decrease in enrollment while trying to maintain staffing and infrastructure designed for a bygone era. The financial stress caused by the pandemic has pushed this issue to the forefront, and the college must take substantial action now, or it will face bankruptcy. I have been working closely with new SUNY Erie President David Balkin and others about the operational changes needed to make the college successful. SUNY Erie is an essential community resource. That's why we are investing $2.5 million of last year's county surplus in an early retirement incentive for faculty and administrators, which will result in an annual savings of up to $6 million, putting the college on a much better financial footing. Thank you to President Balkin and the unions representing the faculty and the administrators for working together to craft an early retirement plan that will help stabilize the college's future. Thank you. Thank you, President Balkin, for joining us here today. I know these efforts will allow SUNY Erie to continue to prepare our community's workforce. Educating a person for a future career only works if the person has a stable, affordable home to return to every night. As such, we need to get serious about affordable housing. Annually, Erie County receives millions of dollars in federal funds to assist with the construction of new affordable housing units. To ensure that we are getting the best bang for our buck, in June, we will convene stakeholders at a countywide Live Well Erie Affordable Housing Summit to identify and innovate strategies to increase and preserve affordable housing in Erie County. We must work together to better address the affordable housing needs of our community and ensure everyone has a place from to build their dreams for a better tomorrow. Stay tuned for more important details on this summit. Thank you. Childcare, job training, and affordable housing are just some of the things we are doing to help out working families. When Erie County adopted its 2021 budget at the height of the pandemic, we were ready for the worst possible outcome. My administration's decade of financial prudence had prepared us for a worst-case scenario, and we would have been able to withstand the painful economic downturn. However, Congress adopted the American Rescue Plan, which hastened the economic recovery and provided $350 billion in direct relief to state and local governments, $189 million of which was earmarked for Erie County. Thank you to President Joe Biden, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, and our own Congressman Brian Higgins for being such strong advocates for the Rescue Plan's passage. Thank you very much to all. Utilizing $90 million in direct rescue plan assistance and $34 million in unanticipated state aid, last year I announced the Reinvest in Erie's Neighborhoods and Employ Our Workforce Plan, the Renew Plan. This funding presented a once-in-a-generation opportunity to make major one-time investments in our county. Thank you to Legislature Chairwoman April Baskin, Majority Leader Tim Myers, and to all the legislators who worked with my team to craft the Renew Plan and then adopt it. I appreciate your hard work. Thank you very much. A major component of the Renew Plan is investing in our blue economy, and few things are more critical to the blue economy than keeping Lake Erie clean. We want to keep Erie County clean too. Our county sewer districts do that by operating and maintaining 6 wastewater treatment plants, nearly 100 pumping stations, and nearly enough pipe to stretch to Disney World. Maintaining this infrastructure is not sexy, but it's necessary. Erie County allocated $32 million of Renew Plan assistance for infrastructure improvements throughout all the sewer districts. This year, we will kick off several construction projects, bringing critical construction dollars into our economy. In addition, several large capital improvement projects are in the design phase, including an $80 million expansion of the Southtowns Advanced Wastewater Treatment Facility. When completed, this project will be the largest single investment in the county sewers infrastructure in more than 40 years. Ensuring our drinking water is clean is a key function of how we protect the public's health. Another important public health initiative we have undertaken with the Renew Plan is establishing the Office of Health Equity. The new office, headed by Director Kelly Wooford, helps ensure all minority and disadvantaged residents, including in rural areas, have access to preventative health care. It will also seek ways to promote health and prevent diseases prevalent among disadvantaged populations. Under the leadership of Chairperson April Baskin, the legislature passed a local law that added the Office of Health Equity to the county's charter, ensuring this work will endure for decades to come. Thank you to Chair Baskin and the other members of the legislature who supported this important local law. Another key area of Renew Plan investment is in our incredible parks. Erie County has more than 10,000 acres of parks, forests, and so much more for you to enjoy. Since 2012, my administration has invested more than $55 million in our parks operational and capital budget, but there's always more work to do. In 2018, our Parks Department completed its master plan, and it has since served as a blueprint for improving these important community assets. Thanks to the Renew Plan, we have supercharged the master plan's implementation by investing $14 million in capital projects system-wide, some of which have already been completed. like the Como Park Lake Casino Lighthouse. The most prominent Renew Plan investment we are making in our county parks is the restoration of the historic Went Beach Mansion in Evans. Unfortunately, due to neglect and disinvestment by prior administrations, it fell into disrepair. I have spoken frequently of protecting our legacy by being good stewards of the treasures bequeathed to us by prior generations. Unless we make the required investment needed to preserve it, the Went Mansion would likely be demolished. Parks Commissioner Troy Schinzel will tell us more about our plans for this important facility.
As part of the $14.3 million overall investment in county parks, the Renew Plan allocates $6.7 million towards Went Beach Park, including renovating the mansion and the stables, as well as improving the roadways and parking lots. These investments will restore Went Beach Park to its former glory. I am most excited about the investments we are making into the mansion. Although the building currently needs a lot of work, it's easy to see its potential. I've never seen a facility quite like this, and your breath will be taken away when it's fully restored. After the work is complete, we plan to rent the mansion to an operator who will run it as a venue and/or an event space. I hope every Erie County resident will have this unique asset when the work is complete.
Thank you to Commissioner Schinzel and the entire Parks Department staff for all you do to create a better Erie County. Our fantastic county parks are not the only community asset where major changes will be seen. Before the start of the pandemic, we were planning to build a new state-of-the-art convention center in downtown Buffalo. However, no one should be surprised to hear that the economic context of a new convention center changed after the pandemic struck. A national State of the Hotel Industry report forecasts that this year, only 58% of hotel and other business meetings will be held. We would not be responsible stewards of taxpayers' dollars if we went forward with a new convention center with so much uncertainty in the convention industry. So rather than invest $400 million in a brand new convention center, using Renew Plan funding, we will instead invest a fraction of that amount on a new facade that will modernize the facility. This will help the convention center remain competitive in the present convention industry while we wait to determine if a significantly larger investment is needed in the future. At my 2019 State of the County address, I proposed building a countywide open access broadband fiber service, ErieNet. I said then, this network will bridge the digital divide in our community so every resident has access to affordable, high-speed internet at their home. And as we learned during the last 2 years, boy, do we need it. This past year, the legislature approved the management plan for ErieNet and our request for $34 million of American Rescue Plan assistance to install more than 400 miles of fiber optic lines countywide. We are now completing the network design and will start construction later this year. Thank you to the legislature for supporting this project. We are well on our way to affordable, high-speed internet for all. Okay, yes, thank you. The pandemic hit small businesses hard, and they continue to experience significant challenges. Through no fault of their own, many business owners now struggle to keep their businesses afloat. I want our business community to know that Erie County still has your back. Beginning in May, using Renew Plan funding, the Department of Environment and Planning will start accepting applications from small business owners for its Storefront Enhanced Revitalization Program. We will grant up to $40,000 to small businesses to renovate their storefronts, to increase foot traffic and, of course, sales into their stores. $10 million has been allocated to this program, and our goal is to upgrade hundreds of storefronts countywide. Very soon, we will announce how business owners can apply for this program. Because Erie County was in a strong financial position before the pandemic, we can afford to be generous now and invest in much-needed programs. But that doesn't mean your tax rate's going up. In fact, because of our strong fiscal governance, our 2022 budget reduced the county's property tax rate to the lowest level since the establishment of modern county government in 1960. At a time when prices are going up, isn't it good to know your tax rate's going down? Thank you to the members of the county legislature for working with me on this very important accomplishment. Despite the reduction in the tax rate, our 2022 county budget makes new investments into our community. We increased funding for law enforcement in Erie County by adding new positions in the district attorney's office, our forensic crime lab, and our E911 call center. We enhanced programs for seniors with expanded nutrition services, wellness programs, and new recreation activities. We increased support to arts and cultural organizations and the libraries. We invested $10 million into a new anti-poverty project in collaboration with the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta to help lift individuals and families out of poverty. These investments will make our community safer, healthier, and more prosperous. We have also been able to reduce our outstanding general debt. Erie County has $140 million less in debt than in 2012, my first year as county executive, a 36% reduction. This has freed up our borrowing capacity to increase investments in county infrastructure and take on new, large capital projects that we might not otherwise be able to support. For example, this year, we will invest $45 million in our roads and bridges. The Greater Buffalo, thank you. The Greater Buffalo Niagara Regional Transportation Council recently released its region-wide 2021 highway quality ratings for all local roads. And Erie County's roads were given their highest rating in decades. After the additional $45 million we are investing in our road infrastructure this year, I expect our rating to even increase in future reviews. Thank you to the staff at the Department of Public Works for all you do to create a better Erie County and smoother driving roads. Thank you. In addition to investments to improve Erie County's roads, we are strengthening our local economy. The capital budget also includes $2 million to continue work on two critical economic development projects, the Agribusiness Park in Evans and the Renaissance Commerce Park in Lackawanna. Working closely with the ECIDA, we are developing the 240-acre agribusiness park in Evans. We've completed the master plan for the site's development and are now designing the road and infrastructure for the site. Erie County also partnered with the town of Evans to construct a new 1.5 million gallon water tower on the parcel to provide water to the agribusiness park and improve water pressure for those living in Angola and Evans. We have also made significant progress at the Renaissance Commerce Park in my hometown of Lackawanna since we began the effort to return this site to productive use in 2012. In 2021, TMP Technologies opened their new 290,000 square foot manufacturing facility on the site, where they produce the Mr. Clean Magic Eraser for Procter & Gamble. Who doesn't love the Mr. Clean Magic Eraser? I got it. And it's made in Lackawanna. Also in 2012, a new 150,000 square foot industrial and manufacturing facility is being constructed by Uniland Development Company, with completion expected later this summer. Additionally, Uniland just announced plans to develop a second 170,000 square foot manufacturing and warehouse facility on the site. And we are currently designing expanded road, water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure that will allow for the future development of the site. With our partners at the ECIDA and the City of Lackawanna, and help from New York State and the federal government, we've transformed 150 acres of the former Bethlehem Steel site from an industrial wasteland to a 21st century business park. Thank you. Some said it couldn't be done, but we did it, and I know the best is yet to come. Today, I have discussed how Erie County has responded to the pandemic and how we are responding to its aftermath. However, these efforts will be for naught if we continue to let our polarized society be torn apart. We have all felt the impact of this extreme polarization, affecting our families, friendships, neighborhoods, and even faith-based institutions. Ultimately, this polarization has eroded the fabric of our community. Although Erie County cannot stop the forces driving polarization, we can invest in the things that bring us together. More than ever, we need venues and institutions that bridge our differences and create a stronger sense of community. We need ties that bind us together so we are not so easily torn apart. One of those ties is our incredible arts and cultural community. Arts and cultural bring people together physically and help enrich our lives. Today, I am announcing a new $25 million fund to support the capital effort of all arts and cultural institutions, including small and medium-sized ones. Thank you. Melissa Brown, the Executive Director of the Buffalo History Museum, will tell us more about the impact this fund will have on our local arts and cultural community.
Erie County has been a tremendous partner to arts and cultural organizations, providing millions to organizations big and small for operating support. The county has also occasionally provided larger organizations with capital funding to support major expansions and renovation projects. The Buffalo History Museum, like several other large arts and cultural organizations, has benefited from the county's capital support, restoring and enhancing this facility for years to come. However, this opportunity has not yet been available to small and medium-sized organizations. That is why I'm so pleased to see County Executive Poloncarz introduce an initiative setting aside $25 million for capital improvements for these organizations. I know the benefit Erie County's investment has had on the Buffalo History Museum, and I'm so excited to see this opportunity shared with organizations of all sizes to increase their impact on our community. This investment will be transformational for many organizations, the overall cultural landscape, and by extension, the quality of life in our region.
Thank you, Melissa, and thank you to your team at the Buffalo History Museum for your collaboration on Erie County's bicentennial celebration, which wraps up this month. Oh, and there's just one more thing I have to talk about. Nothing brings our community quite together like the Buffalo Bills. It doesn't matter where you live, your age, or political persuasion, we all bleed Bills red, white, and blue. The team is ingrained in our hearts and our souls. However, the modern NFL is one where there is no guarantee a team will stay in its current location. Since I negotiated the last lease extension in 2013, 3 teams have moved to new markets: San Diego and St. Louis to Los Angeles, and Oakland to Las Vegas. Our population is growing, and our community and the county is strong. Losing the Bills would be a huge psychological and economic blow to our region. That is why it was so important to negotiate an agreement that kept the team here, but was also fair to the people of Erie County. That is exactly what we did. Thank you. When construction is completed, the Bills will call the new stadium home for at least 30 years, until 2055. The county will be contributing $250 million towards construction, but then nothing more going forward, a key term I fought hard to get. Let me repeat, Erie County will no longer be in the football business because we will no longer be directly subsidizing the team annually, thereby saving tens of millions of dollars in the long run. Thank you. I also fought hard to get a project labor agreement for the new stadium. This will ensure the people who truly benefit from the construction of the stadium are the local men and women of labor who will build it. And thank you to our friends in labor for being here today. Yes, $250 million is a lot of money, but knowing it will be invested back into our community, to the men and women who will work on this project, who will then reinvest it when they go to stores, restaurants, and bars. It is Buffalo. It fully justifies this investment into our community. Thank you to Governor Kathy Hochul for your steadfast resolve to keep this team in Buffalo and for investing in this important community asset. Thank you as well to Terry and Kim Pagula for your commitment to our community when you could have moved and your significant personal investment in this project. Where other communities failed to come together to keep their teams, we rolled up our sleeves and worked hard to reach an equitable agreement that is good for our community. In a time of divisive government where it seems nothing gets accomplished, we proved we could work together to get a complicated agreement negotiated. We did our part. Now it's up to Josh Allen and the rest of the team to win that Super Bowl. No pressure. The new Bill Stadium is emblematic of our community. We are moving into a brighter future for all by building upon the foundations of the past. We are investing in the people and places that are the bedrock of our county, while boldly creating a new path forwards towards a greater future. The people who attend the Bills games, the History Museum, our county parks, and so many other wonderful places in our community in 2055 will probably not know who we individually were. But they will know we jointly cared enough to invest in these incredible civic assets so that they could invest in them and enjoy them as well. As we leave here today, let us remember the incredible work and sacrifices made by so many during these past 2 years, but also reflect on the sacrifices and actions taken by those who came before us. Every generation is handed the torch of leadership to build a better future for tomorrow. Yes, the burdens we have faced have been great, but let us go forth together, united in our resolve to create a more prosperous, resilient, and equitable future for all. Thank you, be safe and well, and go Bills.
The Bills make me wanna shout. Kick your heels up and shout. Throw your hands up and shout. Throw your head back and shout. Come on now, the Bills are making it happen now. Stand up now, come on and shout. Yeah, 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 yeah. Say you will. Shout it right now, baby. Say you will. Come on, come on. Say you will.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Karen.
Yeah.
Be safe and well to all.
Buffalo's happening now. We're on the move now. The Bills are happening now. They're making it happen now. We got the spirit, a lot of spirit, yeah. We got the spirit. Just watch it happen now. Hey, 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 hey. Let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo. The Bills make me wanna shout.